Hi, I'm Shaka Starks and welcome to my channel. Stay tuned to see exactly how I achieve this easy sew-in. So we're going to get straight to business. I'm just showing you my braid pattern. I do anchor braids around the perimeter and then like 4 bigger braids in the middle. The braid that you see in front is the hair that I'm going to be leaving out, and then of course that's my leave out in that twist. I oil my hair with this wild growth oil. It really works. I don't love the smell, but I love the results. Then I take my dome cap. I like the spandex one because it's huge, so it doesn't pull my braids once I sew it down. And I just make sure it's comfortable. I don't pull it too tight, and then I start to sew the dome cap onto the perimeter braids. Again, I don't pull the thread super tight because I'm going to be sewing my wefts right onto the dome cap. This dome cap is really soft. It protects my hair underneath and it makes it so that I can put a lot more hair onto my head. I have a really small head, so I don't really have a lot of braids, but with the dome cap I'm able to like fill in the spaces or the gaps, so it ends up looking a lot fuller. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just sewing around, and then I'm going to carefully clip this dome cap. I'm doing little tiny like snips and kind of just letting it tear on its own because I'm being really mindful not to cut the thread, because if I cut the thread, this whole thing is going to pop off, and not in a good way. So that's what I'm doing, just going around cutting really slowly. Obviously this is sped up, take your time. And there you can see I didn't sew it down on that first braid. That first braid is the hair I'm going to be leaving out. Forgot to mention that I did use synthetic hair to braid the anchor braids around the perimeter. Just my preference, you don't have to do that. Now let's get into these bundles, y'all. I use 2 bundles for my entire head. This hair is so pretty, bouncy and soft. This is what it looks like after I washed and conditioned it. I just let it air dry. These bundles are huge. I actually didn't even use all 2. So yeah, I ended up having hair left over. Was very proud of myself. I was a little nervous I wasn't gonna have enough hair, but you see I made it do what it do. So now this first weft, I'm making sure it is in front of the braid, y'all. This is what's gonna give me the flip over look. This is what's going to hide my thin edges, and it's also just gonna like make the hair fall exactly where I want it to fall. So I'm just gonna go ahead and braid that in front of, or kind of like underneath, that first anchor braid. And I have to mention that this is the first time I've used this texture hair in a sew-in. I love a sew-in, and this hair is gorgeous. It is from Curls Queens. I've wore their hair before, but I've never had like a really curly texture, and it's beautiful, y'all. It looks so natural, so full. Like I said, I didn't even use 2 whole bundles. And you'll see, like, you don't have to put your tracks super close because the hair is so fluffy and full. You can leave like gaps in between and it's still gonna be perfect. Here you can see I doubled my wefts. And these first 2 tracks, or the first 2 rows, I did cut. The rest you'll see me just flip that over and keep sewing. Again, I'm making sure that that track is going in front of my cornrow, or kind of like underneath, not underneath, in front of that braid. And I'm just putting my needle and thread around the braid and around the wefts, and then I'm going to trim it to make sure it is perfect. same direction toward my face and bringing it all the way around. It's doubled. Um, the wefts are doubled. I'm bringing it all the way around past my ear, and I use clips and like bobby pins to help so that the tracks don't fall. Um, and I'm making sure that I bring the track all the way up to that braid where my leave out is. Really important. You want it to be close together in the front. Doesn't really matter about the back. Like I said, it's okay to have gaps in between because this hair is really, really fluffy and full. And honestly, you probably don't, unless you really love big hair. I suggest, leaving a little space in the middle, remembering that I'm doubling the weft, so it's a lot of hair, even though it's only the second track that I'm doing. So I'm bringing that all the way to the top, and this time I'm not gonna cut it. I am gonna flip it, but if you find that like you're not able to flip it and make it really flat, I would suggest cutting it because you don't want like lumps in your sew-in, even though it's curly, so it won't be that noticeable. um, but still, you want your install, your sew-in to be nice and flat. I will say the dome cap definitely helps with making sure your sew-in is flat. I don't know, this thread just goes right through like butter. So just flipped it over, going around all the way to the other side of my head again. Y'all see it. So that was one bundle. You see how much I have left. Also, keep in mind, if you have a bigger head than me, you might not be able to get away with two bundles. Um, but yeah, I'm on my second bundle. I'm doing the same thing, going around my head in, I guess, like a U type shape. Y'all see what I'm doing. And I'm where I do my sew-ins, I always make sure that the hair is going toward my face. That way, again, it's falling over my edges so that they're not exposed. And that's how I get the nice little flip over situation. I don't go just straight back, so pay attention to what I'm doing here. If you have fine hair or thin hair around the front and you want to make sure that your hair is going to fall forward. And when I get up in the front, like when I get to the top, I'm no longer doubling the weft because I don't want it to be so heavy in the front, like at the top. So this is just one weft, and I'm just laying these, and I also want it to be flat. So I'm just laying it nice and flat, bringing it up to that anchor braid. When I get to the last braid, I just measure it out and make sure this track covers the entire anchor braid on one side and then I'll do the other side. I kind of put that track in front of the braid and sew around it just to make sure it's as close to the part and as flat as possible.
Okay, Pocket, I see you.
This little detail is important when you're working with weft hair. Sometimes it has like it's like folded over where they sewed the hair to make the track. You want to make sure that the fold over side is underneath so you don't have like little spiky hairs sticking up. If you know, you know, but you'll see what I'm talking about. And this feeling of being done is the best, y'all. It's been a few hours. Clearly, it's sped up. This is all the hair I have left. Good amount of hair. So now I'm gonna take out my leave out and do some blending, and you'll see the final look. Here's why I love this style. Like, I'm not pulling my edges. So, for all of y'all who are in the comments, like, girl, your sewing is pulling your edges, I didn't even braid it, y'all. Like, it's out. So, I'm able to, you know, show them some love, massage them, put some oil on them. I'm really trying to just, be a little extra careful. Um, so this hair falls right over and you don't see my edges. I don't really have to worry about finessing, but you'll see what I do to blend my leave out here. So after I spray it down with a little water, I'm just adding this mousse just to make the curls clump together. This stuff smells so good. Someone recommended this to me in the comments, so shout out to you, girl. I have been using this and it dries down really nice and soft. So I'm just brushing it through. After I do that, I'm just gonna flat iron my leave out just because my hair is freshly washed and I did not straighten it. After I do that, I just simply like do a two-strand twist with some of the weave, let it dry, and do my edges. If your hair is already this texture, of course you can skip this step. To do my edges, I use two types of edge control. I start with this darker one that has more of a hold, and then